Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to be showing you 5 of my favourite base locations on Crystal Isles and how to build in them. I also know of a lot of smaller hidden base locations, so if you guys want, I could do a video on smaller hidden more compact base locations for solos or duos, so if you want to see that, just let me know. Now as always, let me throw a quick disclaimer out there. I'm definitely not the best base builder around, and I'm sure there may well be better ways to build these bases, but there's so many times in this game where you see bases built completely wrong and they're extremely easy to raid. So this is mainly just to give you a few ideas for turret placement and things like that, and hopefully I could save some of you guys from getting raided. Once you guys have watched the video, if you've enjoyed it, please don't forget to leave me a like. It obviously really helps. And if you've got ideas on better ways to build these kind of bases, then feel free to share it in the comments and we can all help each other out. But anyways, we've got a lot of things to get through and not a lot of time, so let's get into it. Coming in at number 1, we're at approximately 51, 81.5. Yep, we're in the floating islands. Don't worry, not all of these are going to be in the floating islands. So we're pretty high up. Just try and give you a brief idea of where we are. These can sometimes be difficult to find in videos because there's such a layered out area, but you'll know when you found this area. So it's got a big open spot down the bottom, then it's got a little entrance up here and opens up into a big cave. Now the good thing about this spot is that you can be as big or small as you want. There's a little spot here where if you go into it you'll die, so be careful when you come into here. It's got a little hidey hole here where you can put stuff on unofficial. Can't really fit much in there on official. But as you can see, this area for the main base is pretty big. Easily big enough for a 3 or a 4 man. And then, depending on how big you are, you can expand as far as you like. So let's have a little go at a build and see what we can do. So flying on in here, you can see we've opted for 2 hanging towers. One either side of the main base. The reason I like hanging towers like this as opposed to just towers on the floor is that these obviously can't be accessed by ground. This makes it harder to soak them. This also means you can't like racer run them to blow them up. The only real way you're going to blow them up is either a gas bag or owl bombing or something like that. And that in itself is going to require a lot of suicides. You can see it's such a large area, the turret limit resets. So depending on how big your tribe is or how much time you have, you can keep on expanding in this base. You can put towers along the floor, towers along the wall, everywhere around you. So I've just built a little extra turret tower up there, because that's where my generator is for this right chandelier. You can see on the left there is a little platform you can put it on, but you can't quite get it on the right. So as we come into the base, I've put in a nice defil and I've set it back pretty far. So because we're on official, I built this with pillars, ceilings and hatch frames. Pillars seem to be a lot more effective and easier to build with than walls on official. So you can see I've set this back because I don't want anybody to be able to get down here and be too close to the turrets because they could then C-spin in and blow them up. So setting them back a bit means whatever angle anyone comes from, they're going to get really hard and hopefully they won't get close enough to blow it up, so they'll have to soak turrets. Like I said, you can't really fit anything in here on official. On unofficial you can go nuts, build a little vault room or something. I haven't shown you how to build inside this base because it's such a huge area that you can do whatever you want with it. I have blocked this area off with a dino gate just so you know not to go inside there. But as you can see on official, there's easily enough room for indie forges as well as replicators. The area is also very flat, which makes it very easy to build in. Like I say, you can put more turrets outside here on the floor. You could use this whole area for breeding if you want to. With this base location, the possibilities are endless. Coming in at number 2, we've got a spot that I used on my PvP series. If you haven't seen that, I'll drop a link to it if you want to check it out. I'll put it in the description below. Now, you're going to be thinking, hold up, that's the same coordinates as the last base. Well, it is pretty much, but like I say, this area has a lot of layers, so on this time, we're a lot lower down. The last base location is out and directly above us. So, looking for this flat bit of ground down here, with this big circular pillar in the middle with the purple flowers on. As you're coming from the water, on the left hand side, you need to follow that pillar up, and you're going to see almost like a crack going up into the ceiling. On one side of this crack is a nice little hidey hole. Now I know as it stands it can be difficult to picture anything from this base, and because we're so high up on official it's very difficult to get anything down here. I am going to show you a quick official build, but this is much more aimed at an unofficial build. So the official build, you can see we're quite high up. At the bottom of this base, that's the only place I could get turrets below the base, and to be honest I'm surprised it even let us build there because it shouldn't have done because we're so high up. They do defend generally from below, but if someone wanted to come up here and C-spin, they easily could. So those turrets could get destroyed easily, as well as these lower platforms. I've just kind of put this platform here for a bit of extra space, because the base is pretty small. So you can see we can get turrets above it, and they're going to be our best defense here. They're going to be quite difficult to blow up because however you look at it, you can't really get much of an angle at them, and you can get a lot of turrets up there. To be honest though, by the time you got tech turrets and things, we're probably going to be looking at getting a better base. But if you want to build here, I just want to show you this design. So we have a vault right here as we come in. Then as we move further, we've got a cryo fridge, we've got a couple of smithies, we've got a chem bench. We can't fit an indie forge in here, so I've shut down 5 normal forges. If we jump, we can access this vault up here. We've also got a fabricator above us, got a fridge here, and we've got our tech jenny in the back. This could be done with a normal generator and heavy turrets if you want to, but realistically you'll probably have to put a generator on top of every single one of them turret towers up there. Now instead of them metal platforms, you can put a metal cliff platform down up here. To get it at a nice height, you'd have to destroy that lower turret tower, which means you won't have any defenses from the bottom. This means that anyone could just come underneath and blow up this cliff platform. So if you're going to do this, I would just use it for the space for dino storage and things. I wouldn't put anything on there that can get destroyed if it gets blown up. But personally, in a spot like this unofficial, I would try and stay small, try and stay hidden, and make sure those higher turrets have the best sight on anyone they can. Having a cliff platform like this means people will be able to get very close to your turrets without getting shot. Now, the unofficial build. This changes everything for this spot. So, as we look up, before we can even really see the main base, we're just seeing turret towers. The way this place is laid out, so that it's kind of recessed into the ceiling with these pillars hanging down, mean that this base location is really easy to defend if you do it right. So, I've just placed a hanging tower on each of these. Obviously you can extend these as you get more turrets. The most important thing with these towers, I'd say, especially with the middle one, because that's directly below the base, is that you're not too close to the base. So the reason these kind of spots are so OP is that you can't access it by land. The only way people can really raid you is by gas bags or Quetzal raiding. So if your hanging towers are too close to your main base, once people have soaked the turrets on your tower, they can just put land soakers on your cliff platforms and raid you that way, and it's going to be a lot easier for them. So to stop people from doing that, make sure you don't build your towers too close to your main base. As you can see with the main base, I've just decked it all out of cliff platforms to make a solid ground. Then using pillars, ceilings and hatch frames, I've just hung turrets directly underneath the base. These are really effective because these things can shoot in all directions. So as you can see, once you're inside the base, there is loads of room here. Like, you wouldn't have thought this just looking at the area. In the bit of ground, you can see you can easily fit 2 indie forges there. I've hidden my tech jenny under this ramp here, so it's on the ground. Then as we move higher up into the base, I've done another cliff platform with hatch trains hanging off of that, so you can put more turrets in here. That way, if people get into your main base, they've still got to do this as well. So up on this top floor, this is where I would build all your best stuff. So we've got our bed, we've got a load of vaults, a load of cryo fridges, put our replicator up here. I would also put a backup generator up here as well. I lasted a whole season in this base location, and I built 99% of it solo, and it kind of looked like this when it was done. I think partly because it looks quite intimidating, and partly people don't know how to raid it. People also can't fob to you too close in this location, which is very handy. At number 3, we have our final spot in the sunken forest. We're about 41, 73.8, and we're right down by the water, underneath one of the most northwestern floating islands. Now, I know this spot is very well known, but like every location, you often see it built very poorly. So we need to head underneath the floating island. Once we're underneath the centre of it, we need to head directly up and look for this branch that's hanging off sideways. So this spot is really nice because once you're right up as high as you can go, there's loads of ledges all around here. So once you've built your base, you can extend and put towers all around all these ledges. That way you can just fortify this whole area and claim it for your own. But the main base location is just above this diagonal branch here. Follow up to the top and you'll see a little entrance. Once you go through that little entrance, it opens right up. Again, this is plenty of room for a 3 or 4 man. You can get more in here if you need to. The roof's very high on it, which can be handy, especially unofficial. Further into the cave, there's a nice little crouch spot. And this alone is what arguably makes this the best spot on this list. So I'm going to have a little go at building it and show you some ideas. So starting off, I haven't built on every single one of these platforms. The largest platform also overlooks the base the most, and this is very handy. So I've stuck a big 2x2 tower on the side of it. I've got this pretty much overlooking the edge, so as soon as anyone gets close, they're going to get shot. Chucked an extra couple of turrets on the back just in case anyone manages to get in behind. Now, as long as we've got a tech generator inside that tower, you can extend the range on it so that you can put turrets on this diagonal branch here. These alone can be very awkward to destroy. One, because they're not on a foundation, and just because of the curvature of this branch, it's awkward to get up here. Remember, you can put more turrets down there and things. And like I said, on all these ledges. But that's to expand with. To start with, I would start with these areas. So as we come up to the main base entrance, I've chucked a little 1x1 tower up there with a hatch frame. And on this, I've put as many turrets as I possibly can looking downwards. So now we have turrets looking directly down from lots of different angles. So that any way anyone comes from, they're going to get shot. And hopefully they won't even get close. Put some fences here just at the entrance. This is to slow people down and stop people from just chucking turtles out straight away and getting them to walk straight in. Then, inside the cave, I've given up a little bit of space to build the turret wall slightly further back. If you build it back like this, it means it covers every angle from out here. There's nowhere people can hide. They're going to get shot if they're out here. The base also opens up height-wise as you get further back. So setting your wall back means you're going to get more turrets on there and you can build yourself a stronger death wall. So again, I've just built this base with pillars. It's a lot easier on official. You can put walls behind as well if you want to. That will stop people from just being able to run inside your base, hiding behind something. So with the turrets being set back this far, that is the only place that I could fit a replicator. For some reason, even though it looks like there's more room where that indie forge is, it wouldn't fit there. So because of that reason, that back wall is where I would put my crafting station. Then as we come back here, we have as many turrets as we can fit, as well as our main generator, a vault, and a couple of cryo fridges. So you can see all these turrets are going to be shooting your legs as you get close to it. And you can get enough here to mean that people would struggle to even run this, let alone if they had to crouch to get in. There's no way people are getting this. So for this, all these left turrets, I would put on players only. That way they can't just chuck something out the entrance and soak it. The only thing I would do is this furthest back turret, because it has the worst angle, I would put on tamed creatures. This is so that people can't just chuck a C4 on a dodo or something and get it to run in and blow your stuff up. Because that turret's set back far enough they won't be shooting all the time, but as soon as something gets relatively close, it will shoot it. If you sink the foundations around here, you can drop a vault there. Again, that's the only area you can drop it. And this is also the only place where you can put a tech genny in here. So if you didn't need the vault and you just wanted to put something smaller there for storage, you could put the generator further back. For our number 4 spot, we're in the ice cave in the center of the map. We're approximately 34.5, 48.9. This could be a little bit awkward to find first time, so I'm going to show you the best I can. Here's the big pool of water. One of the entrances is up here. You're going to be looking for the pool of water with the big island on with them purple rocks. You're then going to head north of them, right up into the corner. As you get to the corner, you're going to see a little tiny opening. This then opens up into a big area. There's really not a lot to say about this spot as it is. It's very flat, which is really handy, especially on official. The worst bit for me is that the roof kind of tilts the wrong way. Like, it gets narrower as you get further away. That doesn't mean to say you can't build a strong base in it. Let's have a go and see what we can do. So for this spot, I believe it's very important to fortify the outside of your base. That's because you haven't got as much room inside the base for turrets, so we need to make the outside as strong as possible. So you can see I've gone for a big hanging tower. Again, I've done it with pillars, ceilings and hatch frames. I've put 2 rows below the cliff platform and a row above it. I've then put my generator in a box on top with some extra turrets on it. So as you come towards the base, we've got large bear traps all around. These will get destroyed pretty quickly. It's mainly just to inconvenience as much as we can. Then, as we come down further into the base, we've got a lot more bear traps, and these are going to be the important ones. So I've gone for another death wall approach. I've put as many turrets as I possibly can here, and it's definitely going to be enough to stop most things from getting in. The reason for the bear traps is obviously so that they can't just stand at the top and keep throwing racers in and things like that. Because as soon as they do, they're going to get stuck in a trap. We then have so much firepower that racers shouldn't survive that. So as soon as we came inside the base, you can see on the front wall we've put all our vaults for storage. This far corner is the only place I could fit an indie forge. I've then just put a crafting station all around on hatch frames. It's not the neatest design, but it works, and it means you haven't got to walk far to get to anything. I've hid our generator down in the back there. I then put our best vaults and cryo fridges back there. I've then just built one ramp and put our bed up there, but as you can see, you could build more ramps and things and have a lot more storage if you need to. Can't fit a replicator here building like this. So you could choose to fortify the outside of the base more and not have turrets here, and then you can fit a lot more down there. Remember, all this ground outside here can also be used for more towers as you want to expand. And finally for this list, number 5. So for this location, we're down in the swamp biome. We're at about 75, 67.8. And what you need to look for is this big lake. At the end of this big lake, you're going to see 3 waterfalls. The waterfall we need is the far left one. So as you're flying in towards the waterfall, it's not right down in the water, but slightly up. Might be a little bit awkward to find the first time, but you'll get the hang of it. As we go in behind the water, there's a little tiny entrance that you might not even see. Once you come into this entrance, it drops down. and you have another nice little base spot. This place also has its own water bit at the bottom. This is obviously extremely handy if you're into your aquatic breeding. Now, unofficial, you can't fit a cliff platform in here, but technically you can build in here, so I'll show you that first. So probably the best way to build here unofficial is to do it with pillars and ceilings. As you can see, you can build here, but this is about all the area I could put down ceilings, so unless you want to layer it out well with different floors and things, it probably isn't the best place to try and build an official. So a quick tip for you guys when trying to build with pillars in a place like this that isn't flat, when you do your first pillar, always start at the bottom. If you start up high and then try and snap a pillar to it, it won't snap. You have to start at the bottom, at the lowest point you can, then build up from there. Once you build up from there, you can then snap more pillars. That way you can snap all your ceilings really nicely and you can get a really nice flat area. So like I said, personally I would only build here on unofficial, so I'm going to show you just an unofficial build for this one. This is the only location in this video that I've opted to stay completely hidden. Obviously you can expand, but sometimes it's better staying hidden. So as you can see, even when we get very close to the waterfall, we can't see a thing. But as soon as we get past this water, you can see a nice little death fall there. You can't fit many turrets there, but it's enough to slow people down. So I've built this little bit of a cliff platform so that you can set it back even further than you could if you were just to build on the world terrain. So as we drop into the base, you can then see behind us I've put another little turret tower. Because this is set back from where we come in, people are going to find it awkward to see this and get a line of sight on it. Because of where it is, it also doesn't really compromise any space inside the base, so it's a win-win. So I put our indie forge down there. We can easily fit a replicator, obviously, we're on unofficial. I've then left a little space and put a ramp down. This is so that we can get into the water and you can do your breeding and things for your water dinos. I've put a generator down here just so it's the last thing people see. You can also put a turret down here if you want, just in case people manage to get in. So this location is probably the smallest of all the places I've shown you, but if you use your space wisely, you can easily fit a 2 or 3 man in here still. And remember, you've always got room here to put a little tower outside here. If you're big enough, you can even extend all the way out past the waterfalls. But personally, when I've started, I would stay hidden until I can build more towers outside. This is going to wrap it up for this video. If you've enjoyed it, guys, please don't forget to leave a like. And if you know someone who's new to Ark, or if one of your tribe mates needs to freshen up on their game a bit, please don't forget to tell them about the channel. That'd be amazing. But for now, this has been 5 of the best base locations on Crystal Isles and how to build in them. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.